All right. Here's Naomi. I think this is Donna. So how are you, Naomi?
Good, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Did Miss Martino get a hold of you and Cody
No, she didn't.
for the 29th?
Oh, yes, she did. She talked
Okay.
about that in the student council meeting.
Okay.
Cody's having some technical difficulties. He should be on in a minute.
Farah? Farah will be 10 minutes late. Okay. I knew that number. I believe we can get started. We have 4. Ted, are you ready? Yeah. Rita, you ready? Mm-hmm. All right. The council caucus meeting of the Borough Council of the Borough of Palmyra is hereby called to order at 6:30. Roll call, please. Mr. Almond?
Present.
Dr. Cloud?
Here.
Mrs. Jenkins? Mrs. McCann?
Here.
Mrs. Russell? President Howard?
Present.
Mayor Tate? Here. May we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I can do that. I pledge allegiance
Allegiance
to the flag
of the United
United
States
States of America,
to the republic
to the
for
republic
which it stands,
for which it stands,
one
one
nation,
nation,
God,
under God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
liberty and
liberty
justice
and
for all.
justice for all.
Thank you. In accordance with the Open Public Meeting Act, N.J.S.A. 10:4-6, etc., and in consideration of Executive Order Number 103, issued by Governor Murphy on March 9, 2020, declaring a state of emergency and a public health emergency in the state of New Jersey. Please be advised that the Borough of Palmyra does hereby notify the public that to protect the health and safety and welfare of our citizens and to reduce the potential spread of COVID-19 and its variants, while ensuring the continued functioning of government, the meeting of the mayor and council will be virtual council meetings. Members of the public are invited to attend the virtual council meeting virtually via computer or phone, but all members of the public participating in the meeting virtually may be muted and their video images disabled. Notice of this meeting was published in the Burlington County Times on January 12, 2021. Notice was posted on the municipal door, the office bulletin board, the electric sign on November 5th, 2021. A notice was also posted on the Borough of Palmyra's website on November 19th, 2021. And notice was given to all council members. Has everybody gotten a chance to, I would like to acknowledge Bernadette Russell thank you. Has everybody gotten a chance to read the minutes from November 1st, 2021, the council caucus meeting minutes, and the November 1st, 2021, the executive sessions meetings minutes? Does anybody see anything that they need to have changed?
Yeah.
Seeing none, may I have a motion to approve the minutes from November 1st, the council caucus meeting minutes and the executive session meeting minutes?
Oh, so moved to approve both of those meeting minutes.
Second to approve both meeting minutes, November
May I
1st.
have a roll call? Read it, please.
Mr. Ullman,
Yes.
Dr. Cloud,
Yes.
Mrs. Jenkins, Mrs. McCann,
Yes.
Mrs. Russell,
Yes.
President Howard.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Rita, do we have any correspondence?
I do have a couple of items. First, we received comments back from the Land Use Board regarding the consistency of the proposed ordinance 2021-14 with the master plan. And it reads, Resolution 2021-18 of the Land Use Board of the Borough of Palmyra, whereas the Borough Council has referred ordinance 2021-14 and ordinance amending ordinance 2021-05 concerning administrative review and approval of minor modifications and or field change relating to previously approved site plans for review by the planning board pursuant to New Jersey statutes annotated 40A semicolon 12A-7 little e and the municipal land use law for review and identification of any provisions that are inconsistent with the borough's master plan and any other matters that the board deems relevant. Whereas the Land Use Board has reviewed the aforesaid draft ordinance and considered the matter of the public meeting held by the board on October 20th, 2021. Now therefore be resolved by the Land Use Board of the Borough of Palmyra on this day, the 20th of October, 2021, that the proposed ordinance 2021-14 is consistent with the borough's master plan, and it is recommended to the Land Use Board that ordinance 2021-14 be adopted in its current form without revision. Hang on one second. Hang on, I got a couple other things, but let me let Farah in. Okay, the second one is a letter of resignation. Dear Chief Campbell, I regret giving you this short notice, but unfortunately have to resign as crossing guard captain at the end of this week, Friday, November 5th. It is unfortunate the borough passed this ludicrous COVID shot testing policy because I would have stayed on otherwise. Crossing guards are at risk of getting hit by a car every day, but as far as COVID risk goes, it is probably one of the safest jobs that one can do, working 1.5 hours a day alone outside. You have wonderful people working for you, and I have made many lifelong friends, so I'm glad to have the opportunity to do this job for the past 4 years. I wish you all the best in this unnecessarily difficult times. That is from Amy Austin. And I have another, dear Chief Campbell, I'm notifying you that I'm leaving my post as crossing guard. I have enjoyed interacting with the children and parents of Palmyra and will miss seeing them. I will retire as of November 30th, 2021. I feel sorry because I know of the shortage, but I'm going to be 80 soon and I feel it's time. I'll be free. The police officers have always been kind and I appreciate their help. Sincerely, Gail Marcus. And I have one other one to Mayor and Council. I, Ryan E. Palmer, am notifying you that my last day is starting December 3rd, is my last day. And he is giving you notice as of today, November 14th, 2021. And he'd like to thank Palmyra for the time, years, and experience. He is moving on to greener pastures. That's Ryan Palmer, and he's in Public Works. Thank you so much.
Right, so we need to just accept the resignations from Amy Austin, Gail Marquise, and Ryan Palmer, correct?
Correct.
And,
Mhm.
and that would be 11:15, not 11:14, or did we receive it yesterday? Sorry. Because you said the 14th, so I'm just,
Well, you know what? He says as of today, November 14th.
okay,
it's
so today's the
dated the
15th. Okay.
He
All
gave
right,
it to us
he could have
today. I
written
guess
it
he wrote it
yesterday.
yesterday.
Yeah, he could have written it yesterday. Not a problem. I just wanted to check the date. That's all.
Mhm.
Thanks.
All right, thank you. Redevelopment, John,
The motion to accept
a
those letters?
motion to accept those resignations?
So moved.
Second, accept the resignations.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Redevelopment, routes, John, can you give us any updates on the routes, south side of 73?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. Route 73 South redevelopment continues to be a very time-consuming project and quite expensive. We have a lot of people who are focused on it. Andrew is here tonight, of course, to talk a little bit about it. But you have several agenda action items on the agenda this evening. Number one, we have ordinance 21-14, which is amending the administrative review process. And if you recall, this was to allow for our land use board engineer to be able to amend parking, number of parking spaces, et cetera. We thought that that actually exceeded the authority in the original ordinance. So this gives him additional authorities to do that. And that's up for second reading. We also have the an ordinance 21-17, and this is approving the application for the long-term tax exemption and authorizing the mayor to execute the financial agreement. This is for the Phillip property. We also have on the agenda the redevelopment agreement for the Phillip parcel as well, amended redevelopment agreement for the Phillip parcel. The redeveloper is very close to settling on that property. First week of December is when they anticipate to have control over the Phillip property. And this redevelopment agreement, by the way, and the financial agreement were exchanged precede the recent conversations that we had regarding fair share housing centers concerns, that attempt to settle that. You may have seen that email, number of emails that went back and forth. So this is the original, by original, I mean about this 8 weeks or so ago, redevelopment agreement and financial agreement that we had agreed to, and Andrew substantially prepared or amended is received. So with that, I took a lot of Andrew's win there, but I'll let Andrew fill in anything I may have missed.
I don't think you missed anything. The revision to the ordinance was really necessitated because of the location of the Eagle's Nest and having to scale back the size of the building, which will scale down the parking and the way it was drafted. So that needed to be done in order to not have to go get site plan to really scale down the size of it in the parking. As John said, the pilot, the financial agreement was discussed last time, and this is the second reading for that. Those have to be approved by ordinance. The resolution approving the Phillitt redevelopment agreement. What had happened is originally the redeveloper signed the original redevelopment agreement that really did three things, both two warehouses and the affordable housing. And the first warehouse and affordable housing, at least a good portion of it, was separated into phase one. And the second warehouse, the Phillitt one, is phase two. And that redevelopment agreement that had both of them had to fill it, the second agreement, the second building being 1 million square feet. So right now they don't have an agreement that allows it to be built at 700,000 square feet. It's really about the only change other than really parceling it out from that first agreement. That first agreement is well underway. The first building is well underway. What you have is a resolution, really partitioning out the second building and all of those obligations into kind of a standalone agreement that also changes the size. Really, the only thing that changes is the size of the building. So that's what's in front of you.
Thank you.
Your Honor, real quick, as far as the project is concerned, Andrew said that the project is well underway, and it is. If you haven't had a chance, please feel free to go down there, take a look at it. There's a lot of site work, moving of earth, installation of subterranean pipe work, things like that, sanitary, storm water pipe, etc. Footings and foundations. Permits have been issued. They've actually started excavating for the footings and permits. There are a number of groundwater issues that have delayed construction. We anticipated that the first building would be complete in November of next year. While they haven't put a revised date to it yet, I'm thinking first quarter 2023. And if things proceed accordingly with the second building, settlement on the Phillitt parcel, et cetera, that's probably third quarter of 2023. So that's basically it in a nutshell.
Yes, Bernadette.
So I have a quick question on that. So you're saying that we can check it out. And I was going to shoot off an email, but I figured I'd just ask this evening. So how are we able to check things out? What would be the procedure? I've seen a lot of changes occur in the last, especially the last couple of weeks. And I was by the other day. I wanted to be able to get a better look at things. How can that be done?
If you wanted an appointment, what I would suggest, what I would try to do is reach out to the general contractor directly, the superintendent, and make an appointment. And I can do that for you. If you wanted to go as a group, if the governing body and or some number of borough staff were interested in going, we could arrange that as well. That's probably a little bit, easier to accomplish. It is a construction site. They don't have time for individual tours, but they certainly would do that if you were that interested. But probably, the better approach is to make schedule an appointment for a larger group.
While I respect that, I understand the last time it was arranged during the day when I was at work, so I wasn't able to attend. So I don't want to be inconveniencing others if the schedule doesn't align, but if somebody else is able to go with me, that would be awesome as well. So I know my hours are not the easiest.
This? If you wanted to shoot me an email when you're available, what I can do is distribute that to the other members of the governing body, maybe some of the key staff, and see if we can't get, a couple of people. After hours, they are, obviously it's a construction site, they do work on the weekends sometimes when they have specific tasks that have to be completed, but not generally. And they're usually done by 3 o'clock or 3:30, right? Okay. So yeah, again, it's a large commercial industrial construction site. So, they're super polite, very nice people. If you just showed up, though, they would be overwhelmingly supportive of that. And
I wouldn't want to do that to somebody. Yeah. So that's important. So I would want to do it so that somebody was,
all right.
I don't want to catch anybody off guard, so to speak.
send me an email and I'll send it to the contractors.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else have any questions? Seeing none, we'll keep going. The outlaw training and fitness.
Nothing new to report, Your Honor. We all know that they caught up essentially with the outstanding issues, and so we're good as far as that's concerned. So nothing new to discuss.
I just have one question about that. Andy, have they done a date for that hearing?
No, the court has not set a new trial date. It simply said that the trial is being adjourned. I've not received anything via e-courts, and I checked the other day, so nothing has been rescheduled yet.
All right, thank you. C-Box.
There's nothing at all to report there, Your Honor.
Okay. Andy, do you have anything else to enlighten us about?
I have no other redevelopment to enlighten you about. I think you're all doing well. I'm
All
good,
right.
though.
Thank you. Bill Kushner, would you like to update us?
Sure. On the 2021 road program, we completed the paving of New Jersey Avenue, Madison, 2nd Street, and Roland. The only thing left to be completed, as I reported a couple meetings ago, is the basketball court at Ethel Hardy. Although given the temperatures, we're going to wait and do that in the spring. So that should wrap that up. I did finally receive the training and apprentice requirements for the Temple Boulevard, Firth, the intersection of Temple and Firth. The federal government is requiring that we have one training position and one apprentice position with a total number of hours spent on the project of 750. We will be incorporating that into the bid documents, which by our agreement with the DOT have to be advertised by December 2nd. So we will be advertising that between now and our next meeting. And then it's a very special advertisement because of the federal dollars involved. We have to run it for 3 consecutive weeks in the newspaper, a little different than we normally do under New Jersey bidding law. And then when we receive bids, the borough has to make an award by, I believe it's April 2nd or 3rd. But before we can award, we have to get the bids in and send the information over to the state DOT, and they share it with their federal counterparts, and they have to bless it before we're able to actually proceed. So that should be moving forward. The other 2 road programs in the works are Spring Garden Street and what sort of became the 2021 fall or early 2022 road program. Some cleanup work from when New Jersey American paved, or excuse me, when Public Service paved some half streets like Roland and Charles and stuff like that. So we're putting them together. Need DOT approval of the Spring Garden because that's being done partly with their money. So we would envision getting their approval over the winter and putting both out to bid probably in the February-March era, so they could start first thing in the spring. The only other thing I'm working on, it's that time of year again, so all our annual contracts for sewer plant maintenance and the on-call contract and HVAC maintenance, we anticipate putting them out to bid before the end of the month, so you'll have your bids available for award at the reorg meeting as we normally do. I think that's all that I have, although Ted, correct me if I'm wrong, we're waiting for direction from council regarding Temple Boulevard.
That is correct.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Anybody have any questions for Bill or Andy? Yeah. Okay, seeing none, we'll go to the next one. Is Kate on here? I don't see Kate.
I don't see her.
No,
Kate Cash.
okay. Then we'll go to the PHS student representatives. I saw Naomi.
Hi.
Hi, Naomi.
Yesterday, the Palmyra marching band participated in the Cavalcade of Bands All-State Championships at Hershey Park, and they ranked 5th out of 12 bands with their show inspired by the game World of Warcraft. They had a great season all year and proved that a small band of 13 members can make a big impact. And also, there was an Interact Cove cleanup on November 6th, where we collected over 10 bags of trash and had many students come out to help. And that's all I have to share for today.
All right, thank you. Cody?
Yes, I'll be talking about fall sports, where we start to see fall sports wrapping up this year. Both the boys and girls soccer team had a successful year, both clinching first seed in their groups and making tremendously playoff runs. The girls soccer team beat New Egypt and made it to the semifinals, sadly going out in penalties against Point Pleasant Beach, but it was a successful season for the girls. Their record was 17-4-1. The boys soccer team made it to the sectional finals this past week, but lost in the final 2-1. Leading up to the sectional final, though, they outscored their opponents 15-0, beating Pennsville, Pennsgrove, and Woodstown. They finished the year 17-5-1 and with a Freedom Division championship in Burlington County. The football team didn't wrap up their season yet. Their last home game of the season, they beat Pennsville 50-29 on Friday night, and they play their final match November 24th at Burlington City. So that'll be their final game of the year. They are 3-6 on the year, and the girls cross country team participated in the Group 1 state tournament, where Cadence Anderson placed 39th out of 136 and was the 7th sophomore to finish the race. So that is a wrap up of fall sports. Thank you.
Thank you, Cody. Okay, the presentation, John, the 2021 municipal best practices inventory.
You know, Your Honor, I had a momentary lapse there and forgot how to do that. Yes, best practices inventory. How it comes rushing back to me. Frankly speaking, Donna completed a substantial amount of it, so I greatly appreciate that. It is a group effort, and I think, as everyone is aware, we do very well on this year in and year out, and we always qualify for the full amount of state aid for which we're eligible. What I'll do is the questions are rather long, as everyone knows. I'll try to read just the pertinent part and give you the answer. And again, this is a requirement of the best practices inventory. And again, it does affect the amount of state aid that the municipality receives. Question 1, core competencies. Does your municipality not pay overtime to employees classified as exempt under the FLSA? The answer is yes. We do not pay overtime to individuals like myself, the chief of police, head of public works, etc. Has your municipality reviewed and updated its employee personnel manual? Yes, of course. It was readopted, the latest iteration, as you are aware, on November 1st. Does your municipality complete an initial draft of its annual budget no later than the first week of January? The answer to that is yes. Department heads are required to give everything back to me by December 9th. I'll have that several week process in which to prepare a draft, and then I'll just let everybody know first week of January via email where we stand, if we anticipate any problem areas or anything outstanding or major that you may have to consider. But at this point, there's nothing like that I expect. Has your municipality created an accumulated absence liability trust fund pursuant to New Jersey Administrative Code, etc.? Yes, we do. Accumulated absence liability trust fund would be monies that we have to pay to folks who retire for sick, vacation, etc. Has your municipality adopted a capital program? Meaning a moving multi-year plan and schedule for capital improvements? As everyone is aware, we do. Size of our municipality only requires a three-year plan. We actually project out to 5, and it's very comprehensive for all departments. Are your municipalities codified and uncodified ordinances, including all current salary ordinances, available online? They absolutely are. Rita has done a fantastic job in that regard. Does your municipality have an official social media account or accounts? And if so, is there a written policy establishing guidelines on access, use, and permitted content? Those policies are included in the PPPM, and the answer is yes, of course. Do your municipality's professional service contracts include a not to exceed amount? We actually do not. And these are the contracts, they're referring to contracts like for the solicitor, for municipal engineer, those sorts of things. We do not include not to exceed amounts. We budget what we believe is the appropriate amount. And if we're, approach that amount during the year, we have whatever conversations are necessary or take whatever action that we need to with that professional. And by we, I generally mean Donna, CFO, and myself. Question 9, if your municipality contracts with an insurance broker for health insurance and said contract exceeds the local public contract law bid threshold, is your municipality's health insurance broker being procured through a competitive contracting or sealed bid process? The answer to that is yes. However, our substantial health benefits are really through state health benefits program, and of course, which most municipalities are signed up for, and that is not a competitive. They actually do all of the bidding for us in advance. The state does. Number 10, insurance broker fees dependent on the amount of health insurance premiums or fees paid by the municipality are vulnerable to abuse, as brokers could face conflicting incentives in seeking lower cost health insurance alternatives. If your municipality contracts with an insurance broker for health insurance, is the structure for broker payments set as a flat fee rather than on a commission basis? The answer here is no. We do lesser insurance for vision and dental. We generally don't include that mechanism in those bids. So they are on a commission basis, but they are very small contracts, nowhere near state health benefits, for instance. Number 11, a cybersecurity incident response plan is a set of instructions to help detect, respond to, and recover from network security incidents. Does your municipality have a cybersecurity incident response plan? The answer is yes. As members of the Burlington County Municipal Joint Insurance Fund, this is priority number 1, frankly. Many municipalities, including ours in the past, have been hit with various mechanisms by hackers. So our safety protocols are very, very strong and well structured. And 12, are all municipal employees receiving ongoing cybersecurity training in malware detection, password construction, etc.? Yes. These are all of the numerous emails that you receive. Some of them are, attempting to trick you into clicking onto things that you shouldn't, and helps to educate all of our staff and you included. And when you do that, you get an oops button, and it gets reported to me, and I have to send you a Dear John email saying, please don't do that again, right? So it is very comprehensive. I actually sit on the cybersecurity assessment team for the Borough Municipal Joint Insurance Fund. The measures that they go through to protect all 28 members' computer systems are very, very extensive. 13. Pursuant to New Jersey state statute, etc., a local unit's investment policies shall be based on a cash flow analysis prepared by the CFO, with those policies being commensurate with the nature and size of the funds held by the local unit. Has your municipality conducted a cash flow analysis of its deposited and invested funds? And based on that analysis, does your municipality's cash management plan set policies for your municipality's investments that consider preservation of capital, et cetera, et cetera? The short answer to that is no, we don't have that specific policy. Numerous policies in place, to protect our cash flow, of course, and our budgets, but that particular policy we have not adopted. Question 14. Is your municipality ensuring that insurance reimbursements are credited back to the budget appropriation line item in the budget? And the answer to that is yes, and we have them. 15, has your municipality reviewed all completed capital project bond ordinances for remaining balances that can be canceled by resolution and revert to their respective balance sheet accounts? The answer is yes. These are numerous, you've probably seen several times a year, or at least once a year. Donna will review old capital accounts to see if there's any balances that are remaining. Determine, we have a conversation whether we could use those balances for something else related to that project. If not, they're canceled, and they're canceled by resolution, and you get to see that throughout the year. Has your municipality established by ordinance an anti-nepotism policy? The answer is yes. That's part and parcel of our PPPM. 17, has your municipality reviewed with legal counsel and other appropriate officials the boilerplate language in its bid or RFP documents to ensure such language meets legal requirements under the local public contracts law, pay to play, etc.? The answer to that is yes. We issue a lot of contracts, as you are aware. Bill is expert in preparation of those bid documents. Ted is expert in reviewing them. He reviews all contracts and sends you an okay to award letter for everything that we do. 18, does your municipality maintain an up-to-date municipal website containing, at a minimum, the following: past 3 years adopted budgets, the current year proposed budgets, and a number of other things? We have 10 or 11 years worth of budgets, salary ordinances, all sorts of things, and all of which can be found on our finance page. So it is very detailed, and we far exceed the state requirements. The answer is yes. 19, NJSA requires public employers, including municipalities, to file with the Public Employment Relations Commission a copy of all contracts negotiated with public employee representatives. We only have one, a collective bargaining agreement with the Palmyra Police Association, and it was filed with her. 20, does your municipality perform off-network daily incremental backups with weekly full backups of all data? The answer is yes. We have a very comprehensive backup system in place. NJAC, et cetera, requires each municipal user-friendly budget to include a listing of shared service that we provide or receive. Does your municipality list on its user-friendly budget each shared services agreement that it is a party to? The answer is yes. You can see the user-friendly budget on our website on the finance page, as I indicated above. The next one, we do not have a board of fire commissioners. It is not applicable. 23 requires a copy of each shared service agreement to be filed with the Division of Local Government Services. Has your municipality filed with the division the most current copy of each shared services agreement? The answer is yes. 24. I think this is Donna's favorite question. Audit findings address areas needing improvement, and ignoring these findings devalues the process. Municipalities should correct noted deficiencies. Have the audit findings in your municipality's 2018 audit been identified in a corrective action plan and not repeated in the 2019 audit? The answer is not applicable. We have not had any findings in our audits, annual audits, for a number of years now. That is something that we are far better than just about every other municipality out there, and Donna deserves full credit for that. Our auditor just never finds anything to report to the state. 25, best practices. Does your municipality feature a link on its website, Division of Taxation's Property Tax Relief Program webpage? The answer to that is yes. 26, describes the avenues through which a municipality can consolidate multiple fire districts. Not applicable. 27, have public electric vehicle charging stations been installed? No, they haven't, but Dave Gerkins has provided me with a grant application. And this is something that we should talk about if we want to install electric vehicle charging stations at locations in the borough. Maybe in a couple of spots right out front of Borough Hall might be a good choice. Maybe at the municipal parking lot over between Cinnaminson and Laconia, maybe a good spot.
I know the
But-
Bridge Commission was looking into it also.
Good. So they're everywhere now, and I think that it's something the governing body may want to look at moving forward. I'll ask Dave to resend that information, and I'll forward it to everybody for your consideration at a future council meeting. 28A. A lot of these next series of questions are not applicable. I'll read one and then it'll make sense. Does your municipality currently provide the following position to another municipality pursuant to a shared services agreement? 28A is Chief Financial Officer, not applicable. 28B is Tax Collector, not applicable. 28C is Tax Assessor, not applicable. 28D, Municipal Clerk, NA. 28E is Municipal Treasurer, NA. 28F is Qualified Purchasing Agent, NA. 28G is Certified Public Works Manager, not applicable. And 28H is Public Works Superintendent, again, not applicable. 29 is not applicable because it relates to those above. Question 30, how much did your municipality spend on operational costs associated with managing and treating stormwater runoff in the prior fiscal year? And how much did your municipality appropriate towards same for the current fiscal year? Examples of such costs include street cleaning, conveyance system clean out, routine maintenance of storm drains and outfall pipes. Comment, approximately 30,000 is spent for this, towards this particular question. Expenditures are found in the following various codes and engineering line items is what that refers to. So the answer is about $30,000. 31, does your municipality currently retain a CFO through a professional services contract? No, Don is our CFO. 32, has your municipality allocated and or currently plan to allocate ARP, local fiscal recovery fund dollars for the following eligible uses? And it lists a number, but we are using that funding, as you may recall, for the replacement of the community center HVAC system. And that is eligible since, of course, the community center is a COVID vaccination site and is also an emergency shelter. So fortunately, the unit that has to be replaced there, quite expensive, as you all know, is eligible to be paid for using the ARP funding. Has your municipality allocated or currently plan to allocate ARP, local fiscal recovery fund dollars for the following eligible use? Negative, and it's abbreviated here, so it might be hard to follow. Negative economic impacts. Negative economic impacts. The answer is we haven't decided yet. We'll learn that, or we'll know more as we work our way through the budget process, 2022 budget process. Same question. Related to services to disproportionately impacted communities. The answer to that is no. Same question as it relates to premium pay. The answer to that is no. Same question as it relates to water, sewer, broadband infrastructure. No. In other words, we're not using the ARP funding for any of these items that I'm repeating. 32F, same question for revenue replacement. The answer to that, however, is yes. You may recall we've lost revenue as a direct result of the COVID-19 pandemic. Examples would be in the municipal court, in the construction office, in the form of permits, etc. 32G. Is your municipality currently undecided on how to allocate ARP local fiscal recovery fund dollars for the previously referenced expenditure categories? No, we're not undecided at all. 32H. Did your municipality decline ARP local dollars? Of course not. Believe it or not, some states did. 33. What portion of the first tranche of ARP LFRF dollars will your municipality obligate toward eligible uses by December 31 of this year? 50%. And we had previously spoken about that. We're going to expend 50% of the funding allocation this year, the remainder next. You know what? I apologize. Less than 50%. Right now, we're at about 30% by the end of the year. And that's a function of when we receive the funding. The balance will be allocated next year. And there's the next question. What portion of the first tranche will your municipality obligate toward eligible uses by December 31, 2022? And of course, it's 100%. I'll read this, but it's none of the above. Does your municipality pay one or more of its vendors or contractors via an automated clearinghouse transfer and or procurement card? We do not do that. 36A. This is not applicable. Authorizes municipality to establish one or more specified set-aside programs for public procurement. It just does not apply to us. 36B. Again, related to specified set-aside programs for public procurement. And the answer is, it's not applicable to us. Again, same question. This as it relates to small business enterprises, not applicable. Same question as it relates to veteran business enterprises, again, not applicable. And again, no or not applicable for the next one as well. Same question. 38. Another not applicable. Again, these are unscored. These questions here are unscored. What it is, the state is on like a fact-finding mission here with regards to some of these questions. So it doesn't really relate to best practices, how it applies to Palmyra. They're just looking to get information from us as well as every other municipality, perhaps, for consideration, adopting new policies in the future. 39 does apply to us. Tax collection. Has your municipality established a 10-day grace period for the payment of property taxes and other municipal charges? The answer is yes. Moving on, 41. Is your municipality aware of any real estate development projects or businesses that will be using the Opportunity Zone tax incentive or receiving an Opportunity Fund investment? Now, on the surface, you would think we would be answering yes here, because that was a big attraction for the redeveloper. The Route 73 South redevelopment area is in an Opportunity Zone. However, they don't presently have definitive plans to use that mechanism towards their benefit, and I think that's a function of the investors that they have attracted here and the type of development that is taking place. They don't know for sure, but the answer right now is no. And again, so the next question, 42, is asking which projects. It just doesn't apply here yet. Now that may change. The redeveloper just has not determined whether they are going to avail themselves of the OZ funding opportunities that the federal government has provided. 43, does your municipality currently plan to sell any municipally owned vacant conforming lots by December 31, 2022? I was trying to get several sold by the end of this year, so it may spill over into the spring. So the answer to that is yes. And these are the odds and ends lots that, you know, all over town. And there are several of them that adjacent property owners expressed an interest in. We're happy to sell them. They're small sums of money. We sell them to adjacent property owners, and it gets those small lots which are not buildable back on the tax rolls. 44A, does your municipality impose the following requirement upon developers as a condition of granting zoning approval for residential construction? The answer is dedication of space for open space. The answer is no. We don't have any land to build on except for the Route 73 South. And this question here does not apply to redevelopment areas. Coincidentally, however, there are 33 acres of wetlands in the redevelopment area on the Phillip property that are being dedicated back for open space use. So while the answer technically is no, because it doesn't apply to redevelopment areas, in our one large construction project, we are dedicating 33 acres back for that purpose. 44. Same question. Does your municipality impose the following requirement upon developers as a condition of granting zoning approval? And this is free in lieu of parking. Answer to that is no. We don't have fee parking. 44D. Does your municipality impose, again, same question, impact fees for infrastructure development costs? The answer to that is no. However, the developer of the Route 73 South is required to pay a 2.5% developer's fee to the borough for use in constructing affordable housing. So while unrelated to this, just for everyone's edification, the warehouse developer is required to provide that funding, which is then the borough is then allocates for use in the construction of the affordable housing units. I'm sorry, I got ahead of myself. Question 44 is just that. Does your municipality impose the following requirement upon developers as a condition of granting zoning approval for the provision of affordable housing units? And as I just described, the answer there is yes. 44F. As it relates to affordable housing trust fund payments, the answer there, of course, is yes as well. 45, does your municipal land use ordinance provide for a historic preservation commission as governed under state statutes? The answer is no. We do not have a commission. We have an independent historical society, as you may be aware. A commission would imply it's operated by the municipality. 46, does your municipality have an environmental commission? The answer is no. Does your municipality have an industrial commission? The answer is no. Does your municipality have a recreation commission? The answer is no. But it is an excellent idea to consider if you could ever get all of the athletic groups in the same room and agree to want to be organized under under that umbrella, Recreation Commission umbrella. And that is it, Your Honor.
Thank you. Wait a moment. Okay, public comments. We request that participants wishing to have or make a public comment email their questions or comments in advance to the municipal clerk, Rita Jackson, at djackson@boroughpalmyra.com. The opportunity to submit comments prior to the meeting expires at 12 p.m. on November 15th, 2021. You must include meeting questions/comments in the subject line and your name and full address for your comment to be considered valid. Comments submitted in a timely and complete manner will be reviewed and read during the virtual council meeting. It may be necessary to follow up with persons submitting comments at a later date. All comments will become part of the record and included with the meeting minutes. For those who choose to attend the virtual meeting, I will open up the meeting to the public for comments. Comments should be limited to no more than 2 minutes. All comments will become part of the record and included with the meeting minutes. May I have a motion to open to the public?
So moved to open to the public.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. Rita, do we have any comments? Did you receive any?
I did not receive any comments prior to the meeting.
All right, thank you. We are open to the public.
Bob Rader.
Hi, Mr. Rader.
Bob Rader.
Yes, I can hear you, Mr. Rader.
Oh, thank you. When council approved the changes to the Veterans Memorial Park, the entire original park was to be demolished after 30 years, except the flagpole and monument. I have the landscape rendering dated January 19, 2021. A walkway leading to the Liberty Tree and beyond, and a tree were also to be removed and not replaced. That was after 30 years. Closing 1/3 of the park to the public, again 30 years. The walkway could have been a small remembrance of the 30 years existing of the original park. The first, why was it removed? Second, did council review the new park plans and rendering dated January 19th, 2021? And third, who drafted the plans and renderings? And last, as of 11 a.m. Saturday, the service medallions at the park were installed backwards. So that's the end.
Okay.
Am I still on?
Yeah, you're still on, Mr. Rader.
Okay, I'm finished.
Okay. I believe there was updates to the last drawings. Brandon, where are you, Brandon?
I'm here.
Okay, the ones I received were dated January 19th, 2021. There were 3. What I just said actually happened. It's all done. The demolition is done. But so it's all been done, and it is in accordance with the rendering.
No, everything's done with the most recent rendering. I would have to look at what one was approved, but they didn't remove anything that shouldn't have been removed, and that walkway was part of.
Yes, it was, and it has been done.
I'm sorry. The walkway being removed was part of the plan.
Yes, that was part of the rendering.
Okay.
And it has been done. And I'm asking why? Why was that removed? Why was it approved to be
walkway
removed?
The walkway that walked into the tree, that walkway?
The walkway from the center to the tree.
Right, yeah, that was removed because it was deteriorating and it would have to be completely replaced, but there's also, to get to the memorial, there were several avenues to get to that way. So.
And when that was removed, you closed 1/3 of the park to the public.
No, the park's
that
not,
whole area is closed.
it's not closed.
It's actually closed. How do you get to it? How do you get to the tree? You have to walk over, it's all grass. If you look at the rendering, the
Right.
landscape rendering, that whole area is grass.
Okay.
And then what would it cost to have replaced that? Was that walk so bad? Was it condemned? Was there yellow tags on it? Why
I
was
don't
that?
understand what you're, it would have needed to been replaced. This was the project that I'm not sure what you're asking.
I'm asking. the
How you
walkway-
want to know how to get to the tree? You're saying it's closed, but it's.
No, I don't want to know how to get there. I want to know why that walkway had to be removed, and you said it was in bad shape. The
Right, it
walkway's
wasn't-
not.
Right.
You said the walkway had to be removed because it was in bad shape. Is that
No,
correct?
it would have had to have been replaced, and we discussed these plans at length with the War Memorial Committee, who oversees that area. And that was the consensus that yes, we can remove that, because to get to the flagpole or to the actual memorial itself, which is the focal point of the park, it's not the tree, it's the memorial. And to get to the memorial, you have multiple avenues to get there that are newly
That
paved.
walkway had actually nothing to do with the memorial. It was a
Okay.
park where public could sit down and enjoy the park.
You can
It closed 1/3 of the park to the public when you removed.
I'm not understanding what you mean by closed.
You cannot access from the center of the park. Now, there's a walkway behind. The new structure faces the monument. Before we had the roundabout, you could walk all the way around it. Now, the new structure faces the monument. And the back of the monument, of the new structure, there's a small walkway that goes behind it. From that walkway, where we had the original monument, you could walk to the Liberty Tree. And there were benches there where the public could consider it as a park. That is gone. You cannot get to the Liberty Tree because the walkway is gone. And I'd like to know, why was that walkway? You said the walkway was gone because it was deteriorated.
Right. So
And why?
I mean, we can go back to the original financing of the park itself. And if we were able to, if we didn't have to worry about cost, yeah, we could have replaced that. But when it came down to what was more important, the important part was to have the focal point be the memorial itself, not the tree. The tree's still there. You keep saying that you can't get to it.
Yeah, it wasn't
There's
important.
still
to
grass. Hold on one second, Mr. Rader.
I'm sorry.
And in order for us to, we weren't gonna leave that there. So we weren't gonna leave that there untouched if we were doing the enhancements. And speaking with the War Memorial Committee, they thought that was a good idea to have that removed, because you don't need to use that to get to the park itself.
No, it was. Go ahead. Are you finished?
No, so when it came down to, what are we going to put taxpayer money and grant money into, and it wasn't going to be to replace a walkway to get to the memorial itself, when you have that would have been 3 different walkways to get to the memorial.
You could not. You have 2 walkways to get to the memorial.
Right.
Memorial.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That walkway did not go to the memorial. It wasn't the intent of it to go to the Liberty Tree, because you could have gotten to the Liberty Tree from the point. That walkway was removed too.
Correct.
Purpose of that walkway with benches was to maintain the park atmosphere of the memorial park.
The benches, there's still benches there.
Yeah, the benches are all facing the memorial.
No, there's two that face
Structure.
out. Right.
Do they face out?
Yes.
Benches face out, or do the benches face in?
The ones on the tree side face the tree.
Which tree are you talking about?
The Liberty tree.
The Liberty Tree.
There are no benches in that area around the Liberty Tree.
They're not
Where are
around
the-
the tree. They're around the new walkway, but they face that way.
Did they finish the work today? Because I know it wasn't finished yesterday when I was down there.
Probably be done, I would assume this week or early next week, it would be 100%, except for the landscaping. That won't.
Okay,
be
because
done.
there is still,
Yeah, I
'cause the
believe it was,
benches weren't, yeah, the benches weren't in place when I was by the other day.
the benches are in.
They're in
The
now?
benches
Okay,
are
so I
in.
didn't see that. Okay.
Yeah, the plan that was agreed upon
Mhm.
and it was to have that walkway removed
Mm-hmm.
and to have
Yes,
it.
and you
to
say
have
the walkway was removed for financial considerations and because it was deteriorating. Is that correct?
Right. It was deteriorating, and to have it redone, we chose to use that money elsewhere on the project.
And
Now,
having it,
you said, excuse me, Mr. Vader, you said we chose, so that is the War Memorial Committee, correct? Brandon?
There were a lot. Yeah, there was, we had our say, they had their say, the engineer, what was, the
Who
most
made the
bang for our
final-
buck for that park.
who made the final decision?
Collaboratively.
Who?
I'm sorry?
Who made
That
the
was-
final decision?
Well, there wasn't any one individual that made a final decision. It was, it was a
collectively.
lot. Collectively, yeah, yes, the borough signs off on that project.
So the borough made the final decision?
With the
Who
guidance of the
decided
War
that
Memorial.
walk to be removed?
It was suggested that it be removed by the engineer. We brought that to the War Memorial Committee's attention. We thought it was also a good idea. So did they.
So the engineer gave you the
Well-
information that it wasn't worth saving.
Not that it wasn't worth saving. They left that up for us to decide, their job is to say, if you want this done, this is how much it's going to cost. And we don't have unlimited funds, so we chose to spend it on what the essence of that park is, which is the memorial.
Brandon, wasn't that one of the options that we had discussed? It was like a possible change order, that if that was one that we wanted to pursue?
Yeah,
Okay, so just to be clear on that. And we got all of the direction from the committee.
right. It was discussed. Yeah, nothing
Mhm.
was made. It wasn't, it wasn't any one person's idea of what the park should
Mhm.
look like.
So collectively, the War Memorial Committee made the final decision?
No,
Is that
no, it wasn't one person's decision or one committee's decision. They look after the park, so they have, we allowed them to have a say in it. So we went back and forth, and that was something that was agreed that should be taken out and money used elsewhere on the project.
In my opinion, the original park was there for 30 years. I think what was changed and why it had to be totally demolished, I think it's something that maybe the public should have a little input to it. But that walkway in particular, it was part of the park there for 30 years. And you chose not to replace it or repair it and close that section of the park, which is
Well,
about
it's
1/3.
it's not closed. It's grass and it's a park.
Well, can you walk on it? I mean,
Yes.
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
And
but
the
it
goal,
limited, I think, the park atmosphere and benches.
The
which is
benches,
like what
the benches are
always-
there, and
The benches
Yeah, we
are
had,
not there.
we originally had 8 benches. I'm sorry,
I'm
what?
talking about the walkway and the grass around it and the park atmosphere that was available to the public for 30 years. And you decided, well, we didn't have the money and it was deteriorated, so let's get rid of it and we'll use the other benches. And I think that was deteriorated, wasn't really thinking of the public.
Mr.
Okay.
Rader, maybe it's just that you're missing the point of the changes was for the focus to be at the memorial. And in order for that focus to be in place, it needed to be a more open format. And the way it was before, people were behind bushes, behind trees, behind the flag. So it was very difficult for some of our veterans, some of our people to access the area because of the ground. It was very difficult for everybody to feel like they were a part of the ceremony. They'd be overflowing into the street, which is awesome. The numbers have been amazing. But for everybody to now feel a part of it, it's a much more open format. Nothing's been closed off.
No, you say an open format with the 30 years of shrubbery that were there. The walkways were open. Actually, the area is smaller than it was before.
Not at all.
The area is the area. There's more.
Right.
There's more grass because that walkway has been removed, and the public was involved because the War Memorial Committee is the public.
Thank you.
They don't work for the borough. They are, made up of volunteers and residents. So they did have, there was a say, and I weighed their voice a lot because of how much time they actually spend there.
I agree that the
so
focus,
I do trust, if that needed to be removed, it was a walkway that walked into a tree, and then you would have to go around that. So, you say it's there for 30 years. It was there for 30 years, and it showed. And
there was a walkway around the tree, and I had the documents that why it was removed, because that really was deteriorated. But I don't think the walkway, when that walkway around the tree was removed, was ever really used to get to the tree. It was an area to go and rest, maybe have your lunch. There were benches there. And that's what it ended up as. There was an access to the center, to the actual memorial many, many years ago. But that walkway was deteriorated and removed. But I just don't understand, why, it's not that big. And I was watching a couple of times how they work. And I mean, they are professionals. And I don't see why. It would probably been about 2 days to replace that walkway. I don't see the way these guys work. And I said I was there and I watched them. And, you say you gave me reasons why it was removed and why the public can't access. You say they can access it. They can walk on it, but they can't sit down and enjoy it as a park. And I really don't understand that.
So just while we wrap this up, you're talking about a walkway, and then you're saying about sitting. Is it a bench thing or?
Yeah, it was both. There were benches there. There was a place where you could sit, maybe have your lunch, just rest, and that's gone. That whole area, 1/3 of the park is closed to the public, and that's a fact.
I can't say it's a fact because it's not closed. It's
you
can walk
now.
there.
It's not
Can you sit down and have lunch on the bench?
There's 6 benches. There's 6 benches on the park.
Oh, there's no walkway. Yeah, there's 6 benches, and they're all around the circle. But there's no park there. I'm talking about a park area that was there for 30 years.
Okay.
And
I don't understand why it was moved, and maybe a consideration in the future, but I doubt if that'll happen to be replaced. I would think that would have been a priority.
Was it?
The priority was the memorial.
Mm-hmm.
That was the priority.
Okay, Mr. Rader.
Wasn't safety another priority for that end?
Yes, priority would have been to retain 30 years of having a war memorial or having a park. I think it could have been upgraded, not demolished. And I think that was a mistake. Removing that center roundabout and all that walkway around it, and essentially half of it was removed. I don't think you improved. The only improvement that I feel was made was around the monument. And I think that was very well done in there, except
Okay.
where I said the service medallions are backward, but that could be easily changed. But I think the only improvements to the War Memorial Park were in the area
On the memorial.
of the monument. I think the roundabout in the center, that could have been upgraded. I think the shrubbery could have been certainly upgraded in there. And I don't think you did a good job. And maybe you were more worried about spending the money than maintaining, I think, the dignity of the original park. And I say, I'll be,
Okay,
I'm
thank you,
finished.
Mr. Vader. But I mean, I only have one thing to say with that, is that you did a good job. It was a process that it just wasn't council or Brandon, it was the War Memorial also committee, and the engineers all got together and they put a lot of work into that. But thank you. We will write that down and we will see what we can do for you, Mr. Vader.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else have any public comments?
Yes, my name is Valerie Still. I bought the house on Veterans Drive in the west end of Palmyra for my parents in 1991. First, for the record, I'd really like to apologize to Dr. Laura Cloud. I've watched you, Dr. Cloud, at these meetings and also when I'm reviewing them later with others. And it's not fair for me to include you in what is happening with this current governing body and my personal critique of the overall governing body. You are refreshing, fairly new Palmyra council member, and I appreciate and respect your silence, Dr. McLeod, or Dr. Cloud, sorry about that. I believe your silence is not out of ignorance or arrogance or the fact that you're not interested in the concerns of Palmyra Proud residents. I believe because of your education and experience as a scientist and also as a scholar and now as an elected public official, a public servant, you're thoughtful, not quick to attack, but are processing what is being said. And I'm hoping you will be the advocate for us Palmyra Proud residents. I'm not aligning with a political party, but doing what is just and fair for all. I'm petitioning you to help condemn this anonymous person who calls himself Black Owl, sending hateful emails to Palmyra residents, businesses, and faith-based organizations. This should be a concern for this governing body as well. I brought this up at the last council meeting. Black Owl's derogatory stereotypes of Black people is shocking. He states in this email that's circulating around Palmyra, he says, all Blacks have left is to bitch and complain and demand from the white man, but decided it was easier to bitch and complain and demand. Then Black Owl goes on to say in the same hate-filled email, I've seen the police and the court railroad my white friends as many times as my Black friends. That's social inequality based on class, not race. Then he states with an exclamation point, what the Black person needs is self-respect. Wow. When I was notified of this email by a few business owners in Palmyra, I filed a police report with the Palmyra Police Department. I also stated this again last council meeting. All Palmyra residents should be disgusted by the racist and hateful email sent by this coward. And I know our governing body definitely needs to condemn this type of hate speech, even though I know we're covered by our Constitution, our great Constitution, with our First Amendment right, freedom of speech. But when Black Owl says, he says this also in a quote, if someone puts the right word in the wrong ear, there may be consequences to pay. So I'll remain anonymous for now. And that's the type of coward this guy is, or her, whoever it is. I hope, Dr. Cloud, I think you're the right person with the wrong ear, and make sure that there's consequences to pay for hate speech here in Palmyra, New Jersey. I don't want to live in a place where this type of emails going around. Second, since the council and mayor has decided without the approval of Palmyra Proud residents to have only one public session during these council meetings, it's difficult to comment on something a council member says after the public statement session is over. That happened last meeting. But if it's made in reference to a public statement from a resident, we should be able to have at least a rebuttal or a clarification. Again, this happened in the last meeting, and Mr. Rader, I know it's been requesting this since I've been at these meetings, since you all eliminated the second public session, which would give us some time to process everything and then have something to say later on in these council meetings. I don't know why you are so disrespectful to tax-paying residents of Palmyra. We're American citizens, not only elected our public officials. We not only elect our public officials to have our interests as our priority, but we're also paying for the stipends that you all receive, and also the high salaries of certain individuals on this virtual meeting in this administration. Individuals who have certain positions for over a decade, long time, and career politicians, and all those other employees of the Borough of Palmyra. I believe we are also paying for some members of this governing body to get accreditations, which only benefit you all. So you really should stop with the disrespect and the arrogance towards us residents that come in, regardless that you're a Democrat or you have allegiance to the Democratic Party. And I know you said don't talk politics. Well, the governing body is a politics. We saw that in these last elections. You all have an obligation to treat all American citizens, and especially Palmyra Proud residents, with respect and dignity, regardless of our opinions, questions, or political affiliation. I'm neither Democrat or Republican. I'm a citizen of the United States of America, and I'm a Palmyra Proud resident. It's so arrogant and pretentious for Ted Rosenberg, who's getting tens of thousands of dollars each year from us Palmyra Proud tax-paying residents to represent and defend the interest of the people, to then advise you all, public elected officials, to not respond to residents and to cut off Palmyra Proud residents voicing our concerns and opinions. It's disrespectful for this governing body to be texting each other or emailing each other. It's against the law for public officials to be texting and emailing and communicating with each other without all those texts, communications, and emails being documented on official minutes and part of the records. And it should be available to us. We should be able to access all that communication that's going on between you all during these meetings. If you want to eat and drink and look disinterested, if you have your camera off or pointed to your belly or groin area, that's your own prerogative, but it makes you all look very arrogant and very unrefined as well. This may be your normal and refined fashion, but for me, it seems rather boorish. It's a matter of class, respect, dignity. So please, please go dust off your elected official guidebooks and read over them. We know you have this big Democratic Party that supports whatever you do, but if you haven't noticed in this past elections, I hope that you find out that the American people are not just going to sit back and allow this nonsense. I never thought I'd see the day when New Jersey wouldn't be my favorite color, big blue. But 2022 is not far away. So you may want to start being respectful to all residents that you have an obligation to and a duty to serve. Now I want to address Council Member Brandon Allman. I cringe when you shut down Mr. Rader during one of the first meetings that I attended back in July, where he was expressing concern about not having ample time for the public to discuss and understand certain resolution ordinance. And he also made the fact that the official minutes are so difficult for the public to find. I find that also. You all seem like it's just so easy, but it's not. Another resident recently came on at one of the council meetings and expressed this concern as well. But Brandon, you totally shut down Mr. Rader that day, stating that you all had decided to eliminate that second public session. And then the last meeting, you made a comment on the allegations of nepotism brought up during the public session that I brought up. But you did that after the one public session was closed. You decided to refute the allegations of nepotism in this administration in regards to council members' children being selected as student council representatives for the Borough of Palmyra, because you were the one who set up the guidelines and the requirements, and you had taken in consideration that nepotism could be an issue. You stated that last meeting, but you had nothing to say about the allegations of systemic racism within the Palmyra School District or the hate speech of Black Owls circulating in Palmyra. Well, Brandon, I'm glad that you recognize the problem that with nepotism in this, because unfortunately, we are human and we're also parents, and you all on top of that are elected officials. So you are held to an even higher standard And fortunately or unfortunately, that means your children as well if you choose to put them in this position. I stated before, I can't win a prize at McDonald's if I have a family member working at the restaurant. Did you know that according to a study, 43% of white Harvard students admitted, or legacy students, children of staff or the dean's interest list, which means their parent or relatives had donated to Harvard or were recruited athletes. Only 57% of admitted white students were on merit. So for you to be so surprised that nepotism could be a concern in this case in Palmyra, when Palmyra members, council members' children are being selected as student reps, is disingenuous to say the least. And this is not about race. This is about nepotism. I just want to make that straight. This is about nepotism. Remember, I'm pretty sure you all were disgusted when Trump put his children in certain positions. Remember that outrage? Why not just put in the rules that no member of the governing body's children or relatives can serve as a student rep during the governing body's members' term? That's easy enough. Again, this isn't a question of the qualifications of the students. We have two awesome students on this virtual meeting right now. Has nothing to do with these students. They're more than capable, more than qualified. So please stop with this nonsense of throwing students under the bus. And I'm not attacking them. I'm questioning the policy of selecting governing bodies members' children. I've even been attacked by a Palmyra school board member online about this. I know you said this is a small town. This is what you said after the public session was closed. You said it's, and this is to Brandon. I know you said this is a small town, and so quite naturally, there's a shortage of students that would be available for these 2 spots. Wow, 2 spots to fill. And the Palmyra School District can't find any students that would qualify for those spots besides council members' children. The problem with allowing the school to decide, and the CBJ, the Clarence B. Jones Institute for Social Advocacy, we've had this problem, is that you have to see who's selecting these students. You can't tell me that with a student population of nearly 50% students of color and a wide socioeconomic range, you're not able to find 10 to 20 diverse students for this selection. I don't want to get into the details about the issue with CBJ Institute had as far as the selection committee at the high school. But again, we're human, and there's a tendency to select students that you know, or you like, or you understand. It's just human nature. It goes on across the country in school districts all over.
Yeah.
As you know, students get these positions, students who get these positions are able to use this experience on their college admission applications and also when applying for scholarships. So there is a monetary gain in this as well. Can you see where this could be a big problem or an issue? Remember, this is the mayor, the council, and administration who had an ethics investigation paid by us taxpayers of the former mayor because you all alleged she was trying to create benefits for her title of mayor in her profession to help herself. What is the issue with stating that a family member, a relative of the council or mayor or administrator is not allowed to have these positions? This has nothing to do with the student, it's the policy. And you know, I'm pretty sure in the elected officials guidebooks, it probably addresses this issue. I just heard with the long-winded inventory list there that nepotism was in there as well, because it's a serious problem. Nepotism in politics is a serious issue. Nepotism in politics lead to political corruption. Nepotism is also having taxpayers pay for certain certifications and accreditations of council members or administrators, which result in financial gain and also enhancing one's own benefits. This is unethical and should have no place in the governing body of any town or city. Does it happen? Yes. Should it happen? No. So why are you fighting for council members' children to have these positions? If you are an elected official, you have decided that you are a public servant, and that means altruistic service. Altruistic means selfless service, which means putting the public ahead of your own family. That's what an elected official is. Sorry about that, but the opposite of altruism is nepotism, and that leads us to where our government and our governing bodies are in the United States. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else have anything that they didn't want to say?
Hi, good
Seeing
evening.
none. Up, go ahead, Loretta.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. This is Loretta Kelly, 834 Highland Avenue. I guess I just wanted to kind of ask for some guidance from the committee regarding a long time problem that I know you're all familiar with, but the excessive speed here on Highland Avenue. I moved here in 2009, and I guess I have a long, line of patience, but now I finally kind of reached my mark, and I feel like it's becoming a really, really serious or concerning problem. So I don't know if you're familiar with the relatively new kind of solar powered speed limit sign on the Cinnamon side on Dillinger Avenue. I would love to have something like that posted, of course, on the downslope of Highland Avenue, right? That's where the issue is. Everybody kind of treats the downslope as like a ski slope. And I think most recently it just unnerves me on Halloween, just the high rate of speed that people were just flying down on that particular evening. So I guess, I don't know if you could just give me some history as to the attempts that maybe have been done in the past. I know you had set up, that mobile automated sign, but I feel like, I don't know, I feel like I'm ready to make some noise about this, and I just wanted to ask, what could be most effective in addressing this kind of problem?
I agree. I was worried around Halloween also because it was getting dark so early. Chief, could you answer anything that we have done or that we can do to try to slow down the speed on downhill on Highland?
As she stated, the sign has been posted out there. The speed sign or the traffic control sign has been posted out there. I've actually talked with Bill Kirshner recently about those solar powered speed limit signs. We were both kind of looking at them. Ernie and Bill and I had talked about those signs and maybe getting them in different areas of town, maybe as a capital improvement project. We were trying to gather some information on that. As far as Highland, I can do my best to put somebody out there, but obviously we all know the personnel shortages and stuff like that. So we can certainly put the sign out there again, the speed sign or the traffic control sign out there again, and kind of go from there. We also have our traffic box that can actually monitor how much traffic is going up and down Highland. It's kind of not seen, so the motoring public would not see it, so to speak, but it would monitor how far or how fast cars are going up and down Highland and at what speeds they're going up and down, to see generally like what time of day these cars are speeding and stuff like that. And that wouldn't take up manpower time, but it would just be another option. So I could have our traffic officer work on that too.
That would be great. Is that okay, Loretta? We'll start there.
Yeah, that would be fine. I think like here on the corner of Highland and 7th Ave, that's where I am at. I don't know. It feels like it's the highest rate of speed along the downside. And so, yeah, I would appreciate that, collecting that kind of data. That would be interesting to see.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Chief. Anyone else? Seeing no one, can we close to the public, please?
So moved. Close the public.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. Ordinance and second reading. Ordinance 2021-14 is an ordinance amending ordinance 2021-05 concerning administrative review and approval of minor modifications and or field changes to previous approved site plans. May we have a motion to open to the public?
So moved to open that to the public.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any questions in reference or comments in reference to ordinance 2021-14? Seeing none, may I have a motion to close to the public?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, does council have any questions?
No.
No, all right, may we have a motion to approve ordinance 2021-14?
So
Approve
moved.
2021-14, yes.
2021-14, yes, so moved.
Second.
May I have a roll call, please?
Mr. Ullman,
Yes.
Dr. Cloud,
Dr. Cloud just dropped off. She wasn't feeling well.
Mrs. Jenkins,
Yes.
Mrs. McCann,
Yes.
Mrs. Russell,
Yes.
President Howard.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ordinance 2021-15 is an ordinance of the Borough of Palmyra, County of Burlington, State of New Jersey, amending Chapter 190, Article 3 of the Code of the Borough of Palmyra, entitled Parks and Recreation Area. May I have a motion to open to the public?
So moved.
Second, open to public.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any comments for ordinance 2021-15?